This video found you for a reason. You're not here by accident, you're aligned. And I'm going to explain this in a way most people will never understand so you can finally see how manifestation really works and, more importantly, how to fix your current situation. Chapter 1. The Feeling. There's a moment in your life where something doesn't feel right. The loudest voices about money don't have it. The ones who judge it secretly desire it. And the ones who truly understand it move quietly. It means you're no longer asleep in the same way. Most people ignore it and go back to distraction, but you didn't. You stayed with it. And because of that, you're starting to see beyond the surface. That discomfort is not weakness, it's awareness. And awareness is always the first step toward change. Chapter 2. The Lie. You were taught that money is dangerous, that it corrupts, that wanting more somehow makes you less. So you grew up divided, wanting growth, but feeling guilt at the same time. That conflict kept you stuck without you even realizing it. Because every time you moved forward, a part of you pulled you back, repeating a story that was never truly yours. But the truth is simpler than you were told. You've already seen it in real life. People with nothing who are still angry and people with everything who are calm and grounded. That's when you realize the issue was never money itself, but the meaning attached to it. And once you see that clearly, something inside you relaxes, because now you're free to define it for yourself. Chapter 3. The Realization. At some point, you stop listening to opinions and start observing reality. And that's when everything begins to connect. Money doesn't change people, it reveals them. It amplifies what is already inside. If there is discipline, it grows. If there is confusion, it spreads. And suddenly you understand why the same opportunity leads to completely different outcomes. This realization is powerful but also freeing, because it means your future is not random, it's not luck, it's not external, it's built from within. And once you understand that, you stop chasing results and start shaping yourself. You realize that becoming the right person is more important than forcing the right outcome. Chapter 4. The Test. Think about the last time you lost money. Not the numbers, but the feeling. Did your peace disappear? Did your focus break? Did your emotions take over? That moment was never just about money. It was a reflection of your internal state. And most people fail there, not because of the loss, but because they lose control of themselves. But here's the hopeful part. That moment also shows you exactly where you can grow. It reveals the gap between where you are and where you could be. And once you see that clearly, you don't need to fear those situations anymore. You can use them, because every test is also an opportunity to build control. Chapter 5. The Shift. This is where things start to change, quietly but deeply. The patterns you used to ignore, and even if it feels uncomfortable, you stay present with it. Because now you understand that awareness is not meant to hurt you, it's meant to guide you. And slowly something shifts. Not overnight, not dramatically, but consistently. You begin to take responsibility for your actions, your attention, your direction. With that comes a sense of clarity. You realize that growth doesn't come from doing more, but from doing things differently, with intention and awareness. Chapter 6. The Discipline. Now you begin to build something real, not motivation, not temporary energy, but discipline. You sit down and face your reality without reacting. You make decisions calmly, without letting emotions control you. It feels small at first, almost insignificant, but these moments are where everything is built. And over time, those small actions begin to compound. You start trusting yourself more. You feel more stable, more grounded. Not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. And that's when you understand that discipline is not restriction. It's freedom, because it gives you control over your own life. Chapter 7. The Movement. You start to see how many people are stuck in waiting for the right time, the right idea, the right version of themselves. But life doesn't move that way. It responds to action, even imperfect action. Because movement creates feedback, and feedback creates clarity. So you stop waiting. You begin to move forward, even if you don't have all the answers. And that's where confidence begins. Not from knowing everything, but from trusting that you will figure it out along the way. And with every step, things become clearer, more defined, more real. Chapter 8. The Control. At some point, you notice something different inside you, a calm that wasn't there before, a sense of control that doesn't depend on external situations. You're no longer reacting the same way. Money, pressure, uncertainty, they don't shake you like before. And that's when you realize that control was never about what you had, but about how you respond. You begin to trust your ability to stay steady no matter what happens. And that trust becomes your foundation, something that can't be taken from you. Chapter 9. The Real Asset. You begin to understand what truly matters. Your mind, your awareness, your ability to think clearly under pressure. Everything else can change, but this stays with you. And once you build that, you realize you are never starting from zero again. Because now you have something deeper, the ability to rebuild, to adapt, to grow, no matter the situation. And that realization brings confidence. Not loud confidence, but quiet certainty that you can handle whatever comes next. Chapter 10. The Evolution. Growth starts to feel natural. You don't chase things the same way anymore. You invest in yourself, your knowledge, your perspective. You begin to see what adds value to your life and what drains it. And without forcing it, your behavior changes. You move with more intention, you make better decisions. And that creates a new reality around you. Not because you forced it, but because you became aligned with it. And once you feel that, you realize evolution is not something you chase, it's something you become. Chapter 11. The Filter. Your life starts to simplify. You become more selective with your time, your energy, your focus. Not out of ego, but out of clarity. You understand that everything you give has an impact, so you choose more carefully. And that choice brings peace. Because now, your actions are aligned with your values. You're not reacting randomly, you're moving with purpose. And that creates a sense of direction that most people never experience. Chapter 12. The Truth. Everything begins to connect. Money was never the goal, it was the reflection. A reflection of your discipline, your clarity, your structure. And once you see that, your focus shifts from chasing to becoming. You understand that wealth is not something you grab, it's something you grow into. And that changes the way you approach everything. Because now you're building something that lasts, not something that disappears. Chapter 13. The Observer. At the end, you realize the real question was never about money, it was about you. Were you reacting or were you aware? Because the moment you step back and observe, everything changes. You begin to move with clarity, with intention, with control. And life starts to respond in ways it never did before. Not because the world changed, but because you did. And that's where everything truly begins. Thank you for being here and taking the time to listen. Not everyone chooses to slow down and reflect like this, and that already says a lot about you. This video gave you a new perspective on real abundance, and even the sound in the background is helping your mind reset and align. I appreciate you being part of this journey. If this video helped you, take a moment to leave a comment and a like. When you write it, you make it real and connect more with your path. Share it with someone else, what you give comes back to you. Stay a few minutes with the 888 Hz music and relax your mind. Welcome to the Inner Observer. This is where your path to abundance starts.